skies darken with a new threat to Tarkir. It will take the combined might of the 5 clans to face what's coming. Sultai, Mardu, Abzan, Temur, Jeskai. Let those who summon the storm be the ones to break it.
Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. Well, I'm going over the Tarkir mechanics for the new set coming out here. A few little notes before we get started. I'm ranking them worst to best, so number 5 is going to be quite a bit worse than the rest. I feel like there's a really big gap in this set between like the top 4 and the bottom 1, but we're going to go over all the mechanics as well, just to make sure they're all covered, but the clan ones are what I'm actually ranking. Okay, and if you like this, please hit like and subscribe. It will help out a lot. Alright, so first of all, we're going to talk about the non-clan mechanics. There's a Behold a Dragon. All you have to do is be able to point to a dragon on your battlefield, or that you control, or reveal a dragon from your hand, and there you go. That's that. You'll get some kind of like usually increased potency of effect. Next, we have Omen. Omen is a weird one. You're probably going to look at it and be like, oh, I know what that is. No. So it's a creature, and on the creature in the corner, it's going to have an instant or sorcery. So you're thinking, oh, I know what that is. That's an adventure. No, it's not. But what it is basically you cast it. You can cast it as an instant or sorcery, and it goes back to your deck, and then you can redraw it again and then cast it again, which is kind of like most of the time a worse version of adventure. If you have a lot of scry effects or something like that, it might be worthwhile because you get to shuffle your deck a lot. And also, if you want to keep reusing the effect on the card, it could be worthwhile. Otherwise, We've got our clans of Tarkir. First of all, Temur, which is green, red, and blue. Usually, again, I'm saying this in very generalized. You can kind of build 3 color decks a lot of different ways. I'm talking about what I think is the most common. Maybe not unpopular is the right word. But okay, so green, red, blue ends up being kind of a Gruul deck with blue added, is what I think. I could be wrong, but yeah. Mardu, red, black, and white. Aggression. It is like the most aggressive color combination. It is really just go in and start punching. It's, very much Rakdos with white added is what I'd say. If you're drafting, this is like one of my go-to color combinations for drafting because I feel like I get a strong deck very consistently. One time I did not, out of like it being my go-to. So yeah. Next up, number 3, Sultai, black, green, blue. This is a sneaky combination. A lot of graveyard recursion and things like that. So yeah. Again, black and green are not bad at graveyard recursion, and blue kind of covers all the non-permanents and things that black and green usually aren't that good at. So next up we have Jeskai. So white, red, blue. This is mostly known for monks and prowess. So you want to be able to like cast and keep casting over and over. In this deck, they definitely went with that kind of theme where you want to have multiple spells per turn. So that's what Flurry's kind of all about, but getting ahead of myself. Finally, Abzan. Green, black, white. I think this is the strongest color combination for 3 colors because it has Golgari and Orzhov, which is like my 2 favorites put together. So yeah, I actually recently did a budget deck tech on Doran, the Siege Tower, which is a Toughness Matters, like Treefolk Kindred deck. It's a lot of fun. I really like that one, so I'll try to remember to put that in the link. But all right, let's get to it here. Number 5, Sultai, Renew. This is by far, in my opinion, the lowest ranked one by quite a large margin. This is like a D, and everything else is like A+ range. But anyway. So it allows you to pay mana to exile a card from your graveyard, allowing you to put counters on creatures. It does allow for different types of counters to be put on different creatures, so there can be some usefulness there. I would have given it options. I think this would have made it like really good if you say you could put like 2+1/+1s on a creature or give it a flying counter. They do have ones with flying counters, but they don't have the option. So my major criticism here is that it's slow. And for the value, it's not great. So you gotta like get your creature to the graveyard and then exile it from the graveyard, paying mana to do that. And of course, when it's exiled, you can't like use recursion tricks or anything, which is really what Sultai is supposed to be good at. So it's weird to do that with Sultai, I think, to a certain extent. Anyway, yeah. Number 4, Mardu's Mobilize. Again, this creates a number of attacking red warrior creature tokens when you attack. So basically, when the creature with Mobilize attacks, it'll have Mobilize like 2 or something. And they'll make 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens tapped and attacking with it. Mardu is extremely aggressive, so this matches Mardu perfectly. Those warrior creature tokens, they all sacrifice, let me check, at the beginning of the next end step. So yeah, any kind of triggers you get off of like creatures being sacrificed, or if you want to sacrifice them to another effect, no problem, you can do it. Again, Mardu does include Rakdos in his color combination, so it's got the red-black that loves sacrificing things, so you can get some extra value out of that very easily. The major limitation to this one is just that it's based on combat, right? You have to attack. So the number of times you can activate this and when you can activate is very limited to your combat step. If you have multiple combats and more sacrifice and things like that, you might be able to get more value out of this. This could be higher ranked very easily. But alright. Number 3, you've got Jeskai, Flurry. This is something that really is not new. This is not a new mechanic. This is like, I forget what the term is. They finally gave it a keyword, basically. So it allows for an additional effect whenever you cast your second spell each turn. Jeskai, again, monks and prowess, so they're all about like casting multiple spells per turn. 2 in a turn is not a crazy amount for a Jeskai deck, that's for sure. And you get all these extra bonuses, a lot of things that allow you like copy spells and things like that. So very worthwhile. So also this may be triggered on an opponent's turn. It is only once per turn, which is somewhat of a limitation, but every turn. So if you got a lot of like instants or things with flash, you can just keep playing during other people's turns and get this, you know, especially in a multiplayer game, you could potentially set this off 4 times per turn in a commander game. Like, yeah, that's worth it. Number 2, Temur, Harmonize. I love this one. So what it is it's going to sound very familiar, but I'll go very quickly. So you cast the spell the first time for its regular cost, then you can cast it again from your graveyard for a higher cost, and when you cast it the second time, you exile it. Sounds very familiar. Sounds, so far, this is flashback, right? But there's one little addition. When you cast it from your graveyard, you need to tap a creature, and that creature's power will reduce the cost of the spell by the generic mana cost equal to its power. So yeah, if it's power 2, you reduce the generic mana cost, only generic, by 2. This can very quickly turn into like casting a spell and then tapping something and casting it again, and then exiling that spell over and over and over. I love flashback. So this is like flashback with mana cost built in, or cost reduction built in, mana cost built in. Yeah, it has that too, I guess, but as do all spells. Flashback with cost reduction. Yeah, it's just please, yes please. Number 1, we've got Abzan's Endure. This is a monster of an ability. So when the condition is met Even I'm trying to define the trigger. It's not easy. The trigger is usually the creature entering, or another creature entering, or a creature leaving the battlefield. Going to the graveyard. Sorry. Yeah, it actually the creature has to die. But anyway, you can get +1/+1 tokens on that creature, or you can make a bunch of spirits. So spirits that will have the same, like, again, you'll have your endure value. So it'll be like endure 1, endure 2. So endure 2 just means 2 +1/+1 counters, or 1 spirit that is a 2/2. So very strong, very flexible as well. The flexibility of this is crazy. Having options is always like amazing in this game. This is really what they should have done with like Renew, and if you just had an ore on the Renew, it would be like a whole different ability. I love this, especially there's things where every time it enters, it's going to do this. You can just like have it enter over and over and over and just make a whole bunch of spirits. And yeah, you're kind of set there. Easily abused, yeah. So this is an unusual set in that it just has so many good mechanics. Usually there's like one solid one, and then there's like maybe a callback or like an evergreen ability, and then there's like the rest that are okay, but maybe just feel like they're kind of thrown in there. This is a set where it's like 4 solid ones and 1 kind of meh one. Really weird. Is Renew better than I think it is? First of all, it does have some good abilities, some good cards to it, but overall I'm not blown away by it. Also, what do you want to play? What stands out to you as like your #1 favorite? Because I had a hard time choosing. Anyway, take it easy.